welcome to Curtain Call, our podcast all about theater, from the page to the stage, from the players to the playhouses. We're going to bring you the stories of the people who bring you the stories that you see on stage that you love to enjoy. We're here to enhance our knowledge and to broaden our culture about theater in Detroit, in Michigan, in the United States, and around the world. And if you've been watching our show, you know we've had some very interesting guests on, people from all walks of life doing all the kind of things in theater. And we are so blessed today because today we have a young thespian who is doing it in Detroit. From every aspect of entertainment, he is providing you with quality entertainment in the city of Detroit. And also today is our first day of having our new co-host, Diane Mathis, to join us. She'll be with us every week, again, bringing you all the stories that we can find in and about theater in the city of Detroit. And we're going to bring you all levels, from the people just starting out in theater to the people who are seasoned and veterans, to the writers, to the producers, to the technical people. We're going to bring it all to you on Curtain Call. So we're blessed today to have with us a young thespian. I call him a thespian because he is immersed in theater. I've been following his career now for a number of years, and I'm happy to have him on the show. Jesse Boyd Williams, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you on the show today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. I've been wanting to get you on from day one, and I finally got you, and I'm really happy about it. So we're going to go right from the top. You know, let's do this. Mm-hmm. Tell us what you're doing right now, so we won't have to be trying to get that in at the end.
Right now, I am currently in Covenant by York Walker, which is this is the Michigan world premiere at Detroit Repertory Theater. We are running until July 6th. Mm-hmm. Weekend shows only. Okay. One show on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. So, Detroit Repertory Theater, right off of Davidson.
Right.
Come see it.
Right. We've already featured the Detroit Rep, so we know that is a premier theater company in the city of Detroit, and we're going to all try to get out and see it. I'm definitely going to get out and see it for a Saturday matinee. Awesome. Okay, so that's the second show that I know you've done this season that was focused on some historical aspects of blackness, of our black life. Tell us about the show that you did previously, and tell us about that the Alabama show, and tell us what it was about, so that our audience, when they see that come up again, they'll know to go out and see it, as well as what Covenant is about.
Awesome. So I think what you're referencing is the work that I've been doing at Detroit Public Theater, right?
Exactly.
All right. I have done 3 shows at Detroit Public Theater.
Okay.
The first show that I did over there, which was no. It was Blues for an Alabama Sky.
Yeah, that's
by
what
Pearl Cleage.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit native.
Right.
Wonderful writer. The script was superb. That was a show during the Harlem Renaissance.
Okay.
So it was about a blues singer who was down on her luck, and she was like really in survival mode. So she had a group of friends who she would confide in and live with to basically help her get through. I came in as a love interest who just had all of these conservative ideas about life, and her life was a little bit more liberal.
Okay.
But it was a great show.
Okay.
It was a fantastic show. I think that was if I'm not mistaken, it was the highest grossing show in Detroit Public Theater's history.
Wow. Great.
Yeah. So that's an accomplishment. The next show that I did with them, I was the assistant director.
Right.
For Confederates.
That's what it was, right?
Which was the Michigan premiere for Dominique Morisseau.
Another Detroit playwright.
That show was very special to me because that was the first show that I saw in New York. Wow. So I had a chance to audition for the role. and it was okay. I didn't get it. I didn't get it, and I don't. When I don't get a role, it's okay. Everything that's for me is gonna always be for me. God is gonna always put me in those rooms that I need to be in, and He's gonna put me in every space that I need to be in.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. I didn't get the role, but another young actor did get it, and he was phenomenal. And I was just like, "Oh yeah, this was for you anyway. This wasn't for me."
The co-director on it?
Yeah,
So
I was
you
the.
still had your hands in it.
Yeah. Goldie Patrick, who is a Detroit native. She currently lives in New York. She had a meeting with me, and she just wanted to get to know me. And she was like, what else do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to get more into directing. I feel like it's time for me to spread my wings and see what else is out there for me. And then they called me back and was like, hey, do you want to assistant direct? And I was like, yeah, sure. Of course. Go on. Yeah, I'll do it. So I did that, and it was a wonderful experience. Wonderful actors.
Okay.
Brilliant experience. It was a juxtaposition between antebellum years and modern day life. So it was basically about this professor who was sort of dealing with so many different conflicts with her students. There was racism there was sexism there, and when we look at life,
We're dealing with all those issues.
it was the same thing going on in slavery time and now.
Right.
Nothing has changed. So I think Dominique did a brilliant job with making that come to fruition.
Did you get a chance to meet Dominique? Have you met her? Of course. Okay.
I don't talk about this part a lot, so it's the first time I'm talking about it. I met Dominique let me backtrack. The first time of me meeting Dominique was maybe in 2018. I was the program coordinator for the Detroit Heritage Theater Festival. It was a 3-day festival that we did here in Detroit, and I put on the second Dominique Morisseau monologue competition, and that was the first time of me meeting her.
Okay.
Years later, we're in the same room. So she actually came to see me in Blues for an Alabama Sky.
Okay.
Awesome experience. Our conversation was, she told me, she's like, I'm just very proud of you. I see you, and I see what you're doing. Whenever you need me, call me. And for me, that was a lot, because she's such a busy woman. And so just for her to extend her hand to say, whenever you need me, reach out. And she has kept her word on that.
Great.
So I appreciate her.
Great.
Think about what you said, Dusty. When God has something for you, He'll present every area to pull you where you need to be. So that has been fruition for you. It was already planned that it's going to happen.
Right.
I believe in God.
I'm just walking in faith.
Amen.
Great.
Wake up every day, walk in faith.
Great. So you're in Covenant now, and there have been any number of projects and films and plays that allude to the story of Robert Johnson, and this is another iteration of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell us about it.
So this story, like you said, is sort of inspired by the life of Robert Johnson.
For those who don't know, and there may be somebody that don't, Robert Johnson is a blues legend from the Depression era, the 1930s, who from Mississippi went away, came back proficient as a blues player, and became a star. And the myth is that he sold his soul to the devil for his and so that's the story of Robert Johnson. Now tell us about Covenant.
Covenant sort of covers those bases a lot. I'm not going to give too much away because I want people to come see the show. Come see the
and that's why we want you to tell them.
Come see the show.
Come see the show. Come see the show.
I'm coming to see this show.
I am too.
It's basically, there's four, if I'm right, there's three women. There's three women in the show. They sort of play as, there's a mom, there's her two daughters, and there's a friend, a neighborhood friend. Family. This is a play about choices, making the right and wrong choice. Obviously, there's the part about the myth, about me going off and selling my soul to the devil and coming back with all this fame and success and knowing how to play the guitar and whatnot. It's going to take you on a ride. It's going to take you on a fun ride. Hopefully it scares you a little bit. Hopefully it just throws you off. If we don't throw you off by the time you leave the theater, we didn't do our job that day. But
just that concept of what that story is about, because I've heard that story many, many years. And I was like, does that really happen?
I mean,
you've got iterations of that story in blues, in film, movie star, hip hop. I'm gonna say hip hop. You know, you've got a kind of a side of that story when people talk about the what is it, the Illuminati? The Illuminati. You know, there's a tie-in right there that people don't, you know, that you don't really think about. Right.
It's been said. It's been talked about
right.
for years.
Right.
Yeah.
People who will sell their soul or whatever they need to do to gain that fame and fortune, and that's what this play is about.
It's about that.
And you got the lead.
So I play one of the leads. Honestly, I'm going to keep it a buck. I think we all are leads in the show because we all
Absolutely.
share the same amount of time on the stage.
Mhm.
And me personally, I don't like to look at certain roles as your lead, you're not a lead, you're supporting, you're not supporting. I don't like to look at it like that. I like to think we're all doing our part in tandem to tell the story.
What you're saying makes a whole lot of sense because everybody's character has to make the character that they're playing against. You have conversation going on between you and your dialogue. So if you have a part that's pivotal what they're saying, you take on that lead at that time when it's your time to come out and speak.
Yeah, there are no small parts. There's small actors.
Yeah.
You are watching WJZZ CoolTV Curtain Call, our podcast all about theater, streaming to you live on Facebook and YouTube. So we'd like for you to make comments. You can even call in now. We've got a number for you. I'm going to give it to you later on in the show. But we want you to tell your family and tell your friends all about Curtain Call. So we can build that audience and enlighten our community all about theater. Again, you're watching Curtain Call on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest TV station in the world. Okay, so let's talk about the beginning. That seed that was planted that said, I can do this, I want to do this, and you have pursued it. And which is admirable because some people do it as an aside. You've been doing it steady with your gifts. So talk about the seed that is given birth to your gifts.
Ooh. I'm going to always give honor to God.
Of course.
Because I would not be here for it without Him.
Of course.
I started out acting when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
I started off doing church play, what they call church plays. My uncle, he adapted The Wiz into a gospel rendition, and he made me Munchkin number 6.
That's so cute.
And that was in Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
That was the times when I used to spend my summers in Flint. From there, I never stopped. I remember telling him once we closed that show, this is what I want to do. I see myself doing this all the time. And at the time, I was a Tyler Perry fanatic.
Okay.
So I would watch a lot of Tyler Perry plays and just get inspired. Yeah, not so much about, the Medea character, but just the whole notion of performance. I just thought it was cool. From there, I would tell my mom, this is what I want to do. I want to do this. This is it. I ended up getting Facebook. And with Facebook, I ended up like doing the research. I was a research heavy kid, and I would research all the plays that were going on in the city of Detroit, and I would find whoever wrote them, or whoever was like a production assistant or something. Like, you had to have some type of involvement for me to want to reach out to you. And I would either reach out to the playwright or the producer and say, "Hey, can I work with you on this project?" As a production assistant, I would say, "You don't have to pay me at all. I just want the experience."
Right.
And I remember my mom looking at my Facebook one day, and she was just like, "Why are you talking to all these people?" And I was just like, "Well, I just want to. I feel like this is my way of getting on the end, because I was young at the time. I didn't really know how to get into things like that. So from there, reaching out to people like Angela Barrell Dunlap, Dennis Reed, Kenyatta Burrs, Paul Johnson Jr., you, all of these independent writers and producers who I thought at the time were dope. Now they're going on to do different things, but that's what I did. And from there, I went to community theater with Mosaic. No, not Mosaic. I'm drawing a blank. Motor City Youth Theater, which is in Livonia, with Nancy Florkowski. From there, started trying to find auditions, and from the auditions, I just kept doing it, kept bothering people until people told me yes.
Okay, you mentioned, we talked a little bit earlier before we got on the air about your internship with Mosaic. Tell us, our audience, what that was like, and because we just featured Mosaic, and I went to see the play. That play was really good. All Hail. Yeah, I went to see that. Mosaic is premier to me. Yeah. So tell us about your experience with Mosaic, because all of this adds up to who you are as a performer today.
Mosaic is a very special place for me. Keep in mind, I am not a Mosaic kid. I was never a Mosaic kid, but I got my associate's degree at Henry Ford, and we had a class where we had to get an internship. And I said, well, whatever internship I do, I want to make sure that it's in the realm of theater, or performance, so I can feel like I'm doing something worth my while.
Right.
I applied, and they called me back and was like, "You want to come intern with us?" And okay, cool. I thought it was like the best thing since sliced bread. So I did my internship, and in my internship, it was really consisted of working with the summer programs.
Okay.
So my role as a summer program intern, I was to coordinate the New Voices Detroit competitions. So the competitions were split into, it was a songwriting competition, and it was also a playwriting competition. Songwriting competition, we enlisted students who were in high school, middle school, really middle school and high school students. Submit a beat, and it can be you on your phone. You can do that. You can write 2-3 lyrics on there, whatever it is. As long as you submit something, we can work with it and help you develop it. Same with playwriting. Even if you just got the characters down or just a synopsis, let's help you develop it. So now you can say you are a writer, you are a songwriter, you are a producer, because you have done it and you have the proof. So I think the whole point of the New Voices Detroit competition was to just say, you've done it. You can build a portfolio now because you can show your work.
I would ask you a question. How many submissions did you get to do this from the kids in the community?
It was maybe 40 submissions.
For music and playwright,
all together.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
A culmination of
that's a lot of talent being developed.
Yes,
but you want to know something? I found it very interesting that there were a lot of kids who were open and willing to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Detroit kids don't like to be creative like that because they feel like it's a taboo thing.
Mm-hmm.
Family won't support that type of creativity.
Right.
Very true, Jesse. Very true.
But once you get into the industry, you start to see all of the Detroit people that are in New York, LA, Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and you see, okay, it's actually possible.
Mm-hmm.
They're from the same spot that you were in.
Right.
So
Right. That's where it all starts. You know, as young people, you got to create or be given a vehicle
Absolutely.
to be able to create and develop those raw gifts and talents that we have.
Because
As,
a lot of people say there's no success in the music business, or you're not going to be able to get into the acting business, which isn't true. If a door is open and you come in that door, there's thousands of things that can come your way.
dude, here's what I say about that part. Like, it's not attainable.
mm-hmm.
I can do theater anywhere.
You should.
Mm-hmm.
I can do theater in the church basement if I want to.
Right.
I
Right.
can make a song on my phone if I want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can for sure.
With the phones we have now.
Right.
And
Right.
kids have phones. Kids have a lot of fun. I work at a school, so I know kids have phones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they do.
Yep. There's so many outlets now for young people, and if there is a music business, then there's something for you to be able to get into. So you never tell a kid, you can't do that. You can't get in the music industry. You can't get into the film industry because it's not true. You know, my son is a professional musician, and we would have never told him that he couldn't do music.
Absolutely.
You know,
There are parents
right.
who tell them there's no future doing it.
Right.
Don't
No.
do this,
No.
don't do that, don't do
If
that.
they've got that interest, let them pursue it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because those interests they do exist, so why not? Why can't they be in it? You are pursuing theater. You've just recently got your degree. I'm curious to know the academic aspect of theater that you gained. And my question, the reason I'm asking this question is because there are a lot of people who think they can act. And who want to do theater, who think they can write, who want to do theater. But there's an academic side, and that academic side brings in the basic fundamentals. In your experiences, what has the academic side taught you that varied from the community, with that experience? You understand what I'm trying to say?
I know exactly where you're going, and this is where the political side turns on.
Okay, listen. We're not afraid of politics.
There's a lot to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Even with all of the quote-unquote success that I've had thus far,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still a student.
Mm-hmm.
Even after the degree,
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to stay green. That's the thing in the industry. We want you to stay green, stay coachable.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be so closed off to other people's ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you quote-unquote human, you have to be open to everybody's ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're like this big shut-off bubble.
Right.
Who wants to deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
Stubborn
You won't get
mind and
anywhere
person.
if you're not willing to. I just had this conversation with my friend Kimmy today.
Yeah.
Some actors and actresses don't want to be coached. They think they know how to deliver the performance, but the director or the producer has an idea in his head how he wants that character to be portrayed. If you're not willing to listen and take direction, you're not going to give us dynamic performance because you're going to be in your head doing what you want to do, and it may not come off the way it should come off to be successful.
Stay coachable. Stay open.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to the director.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to learn.
Absolutely, there's a lot to learn.
But I think the best way for actors and designers and just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be afraid to take a class or two.
Right.
It's fine.
Right.
Nobody is like
Right.
blackballing you for taking an acting class or taking a playwriting class or a screenwriting class or a directing class. I took all types of classes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Been in college for a very long time for it, but
that's okay.
So much experience taking those classes and listening to other people telling you what be the best way to deliver your line.
Yeah, when you are able to combine your experiences, the real life experiences, with the academic development, that just makes you more well rounded.
Yes.
It makes you a professional, because you got the real world experience, that real world training, and then you got the basic fundamentals that you always get from that education.
Yeah.
And when you combine the basic fundamentals with the experience that you get from all the different avenues and genres of theater, it just makes you a professional, and that's why we've got you here today, because I've seen you. Like I said, I watch you from a distance and watch you grow and do theater, and I've just been impressed with all the things you've done. And what I didn't know that I found out today, well, let me just do this right quick. Right. You were watching Curtain Call on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest TV station in the world. Please give us a comment. Give us a thumbs up, some likes, if you will. Tell your family, tell your friends. If you know some people who are doing theater and need some exposure, tell them about us and tell us about them so that we can get them on the show. It doesn't matter whether they're producing 3 or 4 shows a year, writing Pulitzer Prize winners. We want to expose all levels of theater, all aspects of theater, because it's growing from, like you said, the church basement to Broadway, and we want to cover all aspects in between. So again, you're watching Curtain Call on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest TV station in the world, streaming to you live on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, I lost my question. But that's okay, because you sing as well.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, he's an overall performer. I actually saw was that a video of you, a reel of you dancing? Was that you doing that dance?
Hold on, what you talking about? What video?
I saw something when you was talking about the first weekend, the third weekend.
No,
that wasn't you.
That was a repost. I wasn't gonna go on there and dance like that. I need 3 months at least to work on dancing.
Okay. But dancing is all a part of theater as well. You know, dancing, the singing, the writing. We talk about this all the time, because theater is all encompassing. Mm-hmm. You know, you get everything, like Keith Jackson said. You get everything from carpentry to electrician. Yeah, that's my set designer and construction, man. Every set I've done is from Keith Jackson.
Deep drama.
Yeah.
Is it still deep drama?
Yeah,
design?
deep drama design. Right. Deep drama design. Bring us up to date. When we know you already talked about what you're doing now. Mm-hmm. What are some of the other shows you did? We know you did shows with Plowshares, and you did shows in Toledo. So
you've been watching.
Yeah, like I said, I've been watching you. I've been watching. You know, I follow you on Facebook. I follow you on Facebook.
Well,
and I'm always making a little comment. I don't know if you've seen them or not, but I'm always giving you the thumbs up and congratulations.
Here's the thing. I'm on social media, but I don't respond to every comment, because sometimes it can become a little bit
right.
Just a little bit much. But it's nothing against anybody. It's just I'm just probably not focused on that right now. I'm focused on something else. Yeah, I think most of the work that I have been getting has been word of mouth. Just somebody who's seen me do something, or a connection. And in the industry, I think we all know, like, it's who you know.
Right, it's always who you know, yeah.
That's why I say don't burn bridges. Right. Don't burn bridges, because you never know. You never know.
Right.
You never know. Right. The Toledo Repertory Theater I did in the Heights down there. And it was somebody who I think got replaced, and I was their replacement for that show. Can you do it? Yeah, what that check looking like. It was there. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That Plowshares. Now, this is what I will say. Plowshares Theater Company, Gary Anderson gave me my very first professional paid gig,
Mm-hmm.
where he paid me as if I was an actual performer.
Well, you were an actor.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, help me, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Say it right. I originally come from not getting paid, getting getting $50 for the amount of work that I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
or getting $100 where something in the contract says if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you not getting the money.
Mm-hmm.
You don't sell tickets.
That ain't my jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned it now.
Mm-hmm.
I learned it now. But back then, it was just I wanted the exposure.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted the experience. And this is nothing to any of the playwrights and directors and producers who I've worked with.
Mm-hmm.
This is just my experience, and I'm just going to always
no,
share
it's
my
that's an experience that we've all shared across the board. I mean,
Yeah.
the opportunity that I got to was about to have to work with you was based on the fact that the money was funny,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to put the cast in that type of situation where they was expecting something and it didn't happen,
Yeah.
and so I nipped it in the bud. It cost us an opportunity to work together, but that's just what it was.
That is going to happen
Yeah,
again.
and yeah, it's gonna happen again. But hopefully nowadays that we can get people to do what they say they're gonna do. You know, if you be a person of your word, do what you say you're gonna do. That's all.
Yeah.
And so, but that's a theater experience that I think we all have, and that not just in theater but in music as well. I know some entertainers won't take the stage, particularly musicians, until they've got their money in their hand.
You heard?
You know,
Sometimes you have to.
yeah, right. You know, you got it. If they don't have the money, I ain't going. If ain't going on.
And here's what I have to say about that. And a lot of people will take that as, oh, that's being a diva. That's being a diva. No. Here's the thing. I just want to be respected for what I do and what I bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I come in, I do my work,
Right.
I do my job. I don't disrespect anybody in the room,
Mm-hmm.
and I expect to be compensated for the work. I went to school for it. I paid a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I paid a lot. Listen, Jesus.
yeah.
I paid a lot of money for them classes.
We understand.
So
Right.
it's about respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a give and take relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to do it right, you'll find a way to do it right to
Mm-hmm.
get the right outcome. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now, and if you go in knowing that it's not, you know, if it's basic to community and this is all we can do for you, and it's something you're attracted to, that's okay.
that's okay.
That's okay, you know.
Community theater is okay.
Right,
You still
right.
learn from community theater
Right.
because you are still doing the work.
Right. And it is work. Like I've always said, the theater is a lot of work, takes a whole different level of energy to do it,
Oh,
and
man.
and it should be respected for the. A lot of people just think, well, I can do that. No, there's a level of energy that you got to go through.
Not just energy, commitment, and sacrifice.
Right.
I have missed
Learning your lines.
learning my lines. Not even
Right.
just that. Not even just being on the stage. And this is something that I'm learning as I continue to progress into my career.
Mm-hmm.
I'm missing out on a lot of stuff. I'm
Yeah.
missing out on my sister's graduations and my cousin's prom send
People
off.
think about
Mm.
that.
Right.
That's
It bothers me.
I can remember just the scenario that I experienced years ago when my
Yeah.
sister passed away. I had to go on stage. I could not step out the show because my sister passed away. I was devastated, but I had to go on and perform. With all that emotion going on in my head, I still had to get out on that stage and perform.
Contract.
Yeah.
It's people don't understand that.
People that there's, I mean, this is the teachable moment here. If you're out there and you want to do theater, it's a commitment. It is a commitment that it should be a contract within yourself
That's it.
to make, when you make that commitment to do the show must go on. You know, and it can go on without you. But if you make that commitment, it shouldn't go on without you. Here's an example of that commitment that I will always respect to the utmost. My play Family Love, we did at the Music Hall in 1997. And a person, an actor who was in that show, daughter was killed in an accident. She run over, he got hit by a car. While the show was in its run, he didn't miss a beat. He didn't miss a beat. The cast was devastated. We were all devastated. He didn't miss a beat. That is the kind of commitment that you have to have when you go into theater. It wasn't the kind of commitment we asked of him, but he brought it. He brought that commitment, and forever I'll respect that commitment. I won't call his name, but he's highly active in the theater industry in Detroit, as well as the film industry in Detroit. In fact, he's in a movie that just went up on Tubi. But that's the type of commitment that you have to have when you're doing theater. Well, actually, when you're doing anything.
Yeah.
When you're doing anything in life, we try to give you these teachable moments, these life growing moments, and that's one of them. Commitment. Again, the energy that it takes, and in order to be successful, in order for people to know your name and to put your name out there, and oh, I know who's good for this role, Jesse, because Jesse is committed. Jesse brings the energy. Jesse brings the knowledge and from experience and academia. So Jesse, I know Detroit has a thriving indie film industry going on. Have you been involved? And if so, tell us how and what you've done.
So, as we talk about the indie film industry of Detroit, I recently just wrapped a film that actually just went up on Tubi called "Depart From It" by Shantae Delon.
I know Shantae.
That's my girl. That's my big sister.
Shantae. Yeah.
So wonderful.
That's my big sister.
Yeah.
Talented young lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna bother her later.
Okay. Tell her I'd like to get her on the show.
Awesome. I think yes, I will
Yeah, I'd
definitely
like
tell
to
her
get
that.
Shantae on the show.
She believes so totally in God bringing her to where she is.
Of course.
I really respect that.
One thing that I do respect everything I respect about Caliente Productions. That's her production company.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that we filmed, before we started anything, we prayed.
Mm-hmm.
That set the tone for the
Absolutely.
day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that, Shantae she's a big sister. She's a mentor to me as well. Anytime Shantae calls, Shantae sees me, so she'll give me a role lately. Shantae, we need to talk about this too. I need a new part. Okay?
Yeah, Shantae, I need a part too.
You need a part. Mr.
Yeah.
Douglas need a part.
Wow.
Shantae has been putting me as cops. Now I've had 3-hour-long conversations with Shantae about I'm trying to find my type. What's my type, Shantae? Because I don't know it on film.
Mm-hmm.
On theater, they either put me as the ghetto black boy, the deadbeat baby daddy, or just some off Southern dude, and that's okay. That's my. I'm not like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not who I am. But Shantae, she's helped me. She's always called and just say, "Hey, bro, I got this part for you. Are you willing to do it?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's you. Sure.
Every little bit grows.
But not everybody likes to take chances with people who they, Shantae, I've been doing a lot of work with Shantae. In the beginning, I used to do a lot of work, film work, with Dennis Reed.
Okay.
I used to do production assistant work with him, and I think I did a film with him. It was either a film or a TV series that I did with him, but I don't know if that's on Tubi. I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere around the ethers. But Shantae's movie is actually up on Tubi right now. Depart from it.
Okay.
I have to watch it.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that too.
I saw her play she did, and my sister's keeper.
Oh yeah.
It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Thurman.
Oh yeah, Nunu. That's my other sister.
I love Lou Thurman. She's an amazing young woman.
Yes.
She's really very talented. She did something for me, a 30-minute version of my production. I love that girl. So talented.
Shantae has another film coming.
It's already out. Us.
No, not that one.
Oh, okay.
It's something in the vein of that, but I don't know if I should say it. She'll correct me and yell at me later. Sorry, Shantae. There's a film that she did called The List. It's slated to come out soon.
Okay.
Soon, whenever soon is, I don't know. I'm not going to speak on that, but that's another film. So I haven't really been getting into the film side. Do you want to talk about my extra work?
Yeah, I mean, extra is all a part of it. I mean, I remember my days as getting extra work. I was doing theater. But every chance I got a chance to be on a movie set, I took advantage of it. They did that extra work. They paid a little bit. Right.
Every time your face is seen,
Right.
Oh, I saw him. Or I saw her.
Yeah.
So look, funny stories, and I'm going to share my. Y'all the first people to ever really hear about this.
It's okay.
Help me, Lord. Okay, so my first quote unquote Hollywood film was No Sudden Move by Steven Soderbergh and Ed Solomon.
Okay.
I believe we shot that in 2022 ish. Okay. It was in COVID times.
Okay.
It was a lot of masks and whatnot going on. Janet Pound, who is a well-known casting director in the state of Michigan, she sent me something and was like, "Hey, do you think you can be available for this day?" And I was just like, "No Sudden Move. What is this? I didn't look at it." And I remember driving down Southfield Freeway, and I just remember seeing like this white truck, like by Grand River in the Rosedale area. And I was like, "Why does white truck look like a movie truck over here?" Something told me to just get off the freeway and just go. What's going on? I drove down one street. And it just looked like I had just transported back to the 1960s or something. It was so many old cars, and I was just like, they filming a movie over here. And it's a Hollywood movie. I can tell because this whole block wouldn't look like this right now. I went home to my grandmother's house in Southfield, and I remember on the computer, I'm trying to find out what movie is being shot right now in Michigan, who's the casting director. I saw the movie. It was another name. The movie was going under another name called Kill Strike at the time. Okay. That was the working title. And I found the casting director, and the casting director said Janet Pound. And I'm like, check your email. I checked my email, and I saw the email that she had sent me, and I was like, okay, hey, can I still, here's my headshot resume, when can I work? Can I do it? She sent it back, and boom, I was on the set like 2 days later.
Great.
Being on that set, I didn't know I would meet my favorite actor, Don Cheadle.
Oh, wow.
That was so dope. I remember we were filming in Hamtramck. I was sitting I was just like sitting, waiting on something to happen or something, like my scene or whatever. I just did hair and makeup and whatnot. And Steve Soderbergh, who's the director, he was doing something, and there was this building that I thought was vacant, and I'm sitting like right there with the door, and the door opens, and Don Cheadle walks out, and he looks at me. He's like, "You ready to do this?" And I looked at him like, "Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm ready to do it."
Yeah,
that was an awesome experience.
Yeah, I'm sure beating John Cheadle. You're watching Curtain Call on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest TV station in the world, streaming to you live on Facebook and YouTube. Please give us a thumbs up, give us comments, and next week you'll be able to call. No, maybe not next week, but soon you'll be able to call in and give comments live on the show. But again, you're watching Curtain Call on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest TV station in the world. Okay, so what's next? What's up? I mean, we know what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
So, are your plans? I meant to ask you about writing. Have you done any writing? Are you planning on doing any writing?
I write every night.
Okay.
I have a canon for like maybe 50 scripts.
Oh, wow. For real?
They just on the shelf right now.
On the shelf. Well,
I'm waiting on the right opportunity and the
okay.
guy to tell me, send it, do it.
Okay.
There's something in the works, but
okay. Other companies that you worked with in the city of Detroit, and because we want to promote everybody.
Yeah.
We want to give everybody a little bit of airtime.
Yeah. And I love everybody. I always know that.
We've had a number of different companies on people from different companies, like you said, John Sloan from the city, and we've had Mosaic, we've had Detroit Rep. I'm trying to get Detroit Public Theater TV, Public Theater on here, and every other. We've had Plowshares, we've had Gary Anderson on. So
So recently, what I'm getting ready to do next year, I think I can now announce this to the world.
Okay, announce it to the world.
We bought the license. We have the license.
Okay.
So, I am directing at Tipping Point next year. Tipping Point Theater in Northville, Michigan.
Okay.
It's another professional equity house. So I'm super excited for that. We open in February and we run until March, like sort of the end of March.
Okay, I've called out some of their plays when I just talked about what's going on in the theater in the community in Detroit. So I've talked about them. So what is it now? So
I am doing Brokeology by Nathan Lewis Jackson.
Okay.
This is it's sort of a love story, but it's a family story in the same time. I done the show in 2011 with a company who is no longer here at the moment. That's okay. And I just felt like for my first professional directing gig, I know the story, and I felt very connected to the content of the story. I was like, okay, maybe this is the story that I need to be telling right now. The first play I ever did was Blood at the Root by Dominique Morisseau, and that was a weird situation because that was a play about civil unrest happening on the college campus, and at the time at Wayne State, we were having protests and all types of stuff going on. Did I know that was going to happen? Nope. Knew none of that was going to happen. But I digress. Brokeology is a story about two brothers who come back and they're sort of fighting to figure out how to take care of our sick dad who is dying of MS. How do we do that? One stayed home, had a wife, kids. He's taking care of the family. He's holding down the fort. The other one, he went off to college, became the educated one. What happens in families when that type of dynamic is already created? That's challenging. And the mother is not there. She's gone. That's a tight dynamic. That's
and it's happening with a lot of families. Right?
Yeah, that's
for wanting to do it. I had it happen in my family.
That's hard.
So it was like I get it. Let's show it. And what I think, and this is why I love Tipping Point right now, because they took a chance on this little black boy here.
Okay.
For that to be a predominantly, let's keep it a predominantly white company, predominantly white area. Julia Glander, I love her so dearly because she took a chance on me. She said, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we want to get them on as well.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I said, I want you to know I'm going to blacken your theater up. Just
That's okay. That's all right. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is not a bad thing.
It's not.
It
We
is
under attack
not
right now,
a bad
but
thing.
And it
Let's
should
keep
never have been questioned.
right, right.
It really never should have been questioned.
Yeah, well, we understand what that's all about and the politics of all that. It's just a lie being pushed to further an agenda. But this show is not about politics. This show is about theater. So we're gonna keep it about that. And with that, we've pretty much come to the end of our time for this week. Man, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's been my goal to get it done, and we've got it done. Diane, it's a pleasure having you on as well. This is going to be fun.
It was wonderful.
Yeah,
it was lovely.
Just because you are such a talented young man who has wonderful ideas and your personality is so engaging. It was a joy meeting you, and I look forward to seeing you, and I look forward to even maybe have you do something with the productions that I've written.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. So,
Just acting.
okay, so with that, we're out. So thank you for watching Curtain Call. Join us next week. We'll be in Pontiac, live remote from Pontiac. So we'll see you next week on Curtain Call. Thank you and good evening.
Woo woo.
Woo-woo. That was wonderful, Jackson. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really nice to meet you because there's so much talent in Detroit, and you know all
So
the young
much
people
talent.
that